Do you feel like you have no time for yourself since you've become a mom? You feel like every spare moment there is spent taking care of somebody else, and by the time that you finally have a second to breathe, you're way too exhausted to even enjoy it. I personally have definitely been there, especially since having my baby, who is now almost 11 months old. But what my husband Jeremy and I did is we found something that really has truly helped us both get that personal time that we need while also keeping our home running smoothly. We call them personal nights, and they've been a game changer for us and for our marriage. So in today's episode, I thought that I would go about sharing how we've made this a weekly habit, and then how you can work with your spouse to create this system that allows both of you to get that alone time that you need every single week without feeling guilty about it, without having frustration, or feeling like you always are just running on an empty tank. So let's get started. Hey friend, welcome to Modern Homemaker Mom. Feeling stuck in the chaos? Do you find yourself in survival mode juggling all the things? If you're ready to regain control of your home, schedule, and time for yourself, you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Jynae, a wife, mom, and homemaker who turned my household chaos into purpose with simple, flexible routines. I'm here to help you create a cozy, clutter-free home and reclaim your time for what matters most. In this podcast, you'll find episodes around home routines, cycle syncing, and self-care practices so that you can eliminate the overwhelm and create a home that you love. Go grab that laundry basket and let's get started. If you're new here, welcome. I am so happy to have you here listening to me as I talk all things homemaking, even tying in some motherhood and marriage. We're talking about decluttering, cleaning, getting our house in order, and creating that peaceful, cozy atmosphere that I know that you really desire. These are all things that I absolutely love talking about and connecting with other women through. So if you love the cozy heart-to-heart chats that we have been having here on the podcast, I would also love it if you would join my weekly email list. Every single week, I send out what I like to call a little love note. It's like an old-fashioned letter that you would receive from a friend, and I fill those emails with these quick homemaking tips, encouragement to help you on your homemaking journey. I give you updates, and then also VIP offers just for my email community. There's no spam involved, no fluff. I just like to keep it simple, like a thoughtful note that's from me to you. So if you are interested in joining, go ahead and scroll down to the show notes at the bottom of this episode and then tap the link to sign up. I can't wait to send my next letter your way. I like to call these newsletters the Homemaker's Journal, and I think you're going to absolutely love them. So definitely join the list. Remember, scroll down to the show notes where you can see the spot where it says join my email list, and it will take you to the link that will help you to sign up. I would love to see you there. All right, so let's talk about these personal nights that I mentioned. So when I had Oakland almost 11 months ago, at the time of this recording, she will be 11 months in a couple days, and I just can't believe that. But anyways, my time suddenly was not my own anymore. I'm sure you can relate if you were a mother. Every moment that I had was spent caring for her, keeping up with the house, and by the end of the day, I was feeling super drained. And I'm not just talking about the physical exhaustion that we all get, I'm talking about like that mental and emotional load. I felt like I had nothing to give. You know, you can only give so much. You're just constantly giving and giving and giving, and eventually you just feel like, okay, I need something to give back to me. So my husband, Jeremy, works full-time, often working super long hours depending on the season. And so when he was home, I didn't want to take that time for myself because I knew that he was also tired. I mean, he'd worked all day long. But over time, we both started feeling it. We were so burnt out, stretched thin, and craving that personal time. I mean, I love my husband and my husband loves me, but I'm sure you know what I'm talking about when I say sometimes you just want time to yourself. And so that's when we sat down and we decided that we needed a solution that was going to work for the both of us. And that's when we started something that I mentioned already. We call them personal nights. And let me tell you, they have been a game changer for us. I've shared this idea of personal nights with a few women in my life who have struggled with feeling like they're not getting that time to fill their own cup up, personal time to themselves, and they've gone ahead and implemented, and it has also been a huge game changer for them. So that's why I was like, okay, I'm going to share this on the podcast this week. I think so many women are going to love it, and honestly, it benefits the men too. So how we go about this is each week we set aside a night where one of us takes over all of the household responsibilities, and then the other gets uninterrupted alone time to do whatever it is that they feel that they need to fill their cup back up. This is not about escaping the responsibilities that we have. We've found that it's more so about making sure that we both have that time each week to recharge so that we can better show up for each other. We can better show up for our daughter, and I can better show up for my home and the people, like extended friends and family. And so today I'm going to share exactly how we go about this. I'm going to break it down and tell you how you can get something similar set up with your spouse in your own home. Okay, so I've broken this down into 5 steps to help you approach this in a simple way. So step number 1 is you need to set the expectation that personal time matters for both of you. In some households, maybe your man gets to go out every single week or maybe a couple times a month and go golfing with his buddies or, do whatever it is that guys do when they go out or when they have this time alone. And maybe you are not getting that time, but you have to just, in a gentle way, approach your husband and just express to him that, hey, you get this time to yourself once a week or even a couple times a month. I'm not getting that. And so instead of just coming to him with complaints saying, I don't have time for myself, I need more personal time, you can come to him, express how you feel, like I said, in a gentle way, but you're also bringing a solution. And so that's why today we're going to dive into the solution, because initially we were actually implementing this personal night thing long before I even had Oakland, and we were doing it for my husband. He was getting a personal night for himself. Before I had Oakland, when he was doing that personal night time, it was kind of like, a two-way thing, because he was doing his thing and then I was in the house doing my thing, and it was just working for us because we both felt like, okay, we're having time apart to do personal things. But then when I had Oakland and he could still go off and do his personal things, I was still at the house with the baby. And so that's when I started to feel like, okay, there's a need. I need some time totally just for myself without the baby. I love her, but all of us women, everybody, they need personal time to recharge. And so I came to him and I told him that exact thing. I said, listen, you get one night a week where you are having time to yourself, but I'm not having that. And I'm feeling like I'm feeling a need for that now. So here's my solution. When you come to your husband with a solution and not always just coming to them with complaints, I think they're so much more receptive to what we are trying to change or what the new thing that we're trying to implement. So instead of thinking like, oh man, I just wish I had time to myself, you can both, you and your husband, shift it to, we both deserve this time to recharge. This isn't about one person getting the time off. It's about the both of you supporting each other so that neither of you burns out and so that both of your needs are being met. So once you've both sat down, you've set the expectation, you gently expressed your needs, now it's time to create a simple system that works for your family, which is step 2. So we do personal nights once a week for each of us. So my husband gets a night, he typically does it on Thursdays, and then I get a night, and I usually do it on Mondays. This will shift depending on the season. For a while, I was doing it on Tuesdays, but then I found that Mondays just worked better for me. And the odd week, sometimes my husband will ask hey, do you mind if I switch my personal night to Wednesday night tonight? And usually it's not an issue. And for you, maybe for us, we do it during the night just because that's how it works, because my husband is away working all day. So for us, it's a nighttime thing. But maybe for you, it's something that you do on a Saturday. Or if your husband doesn't work all day and maybe he's on shift work and he works away for 2 weeks and then he's home for a week, maybe you can do it in the middle of the day on a Tuesday morning. This isn't about doing exactly what me and my husband do. It's about kind of following this system that I've created with my husband and then applying it to your specific needs, to your household, and what works for you. So the rules, I don't even know if you want to call it rules because that sounds strict, but typically when that one person is having their personal night, the other person, the parent, is handling the entire evening routine. So because we're doing it nighttime, that would include putting Oakland down to bed. Sometimes she's having a bath, cleaning up or tidying up the house for the night, and dealing with anything that comes up. Then the other person gets that guaranteed 1, 2, 3 hours. You guys you get to sit down together and decide how much time you want to allow and give to each other for this. And they get that guaranteed time to do something for themselves uninterrupted. Since we have started implementing this right from day one when Oakland was born, it's something that she's just going to grow up understanding okay, on one night a week, mom and dad, they get their personal time. And so dad's going to put me to bed. If you are trying to implement this after, you have kids who are maybe 2, 3, 4, and they're maybe used to mom putting them down to bed every night, it might take you some time to kind of set that expectation for your children as well, to understand like, hey, mom is having some personal time, she's off limits, and that's just a boundary that you're going to have to set with your kids. It may take some time for them to learn that boundary, but I can promise you that it will be worth it. And maybe if it takes you 10 minutes to just read them a quick story and tuck them in, you could always make that work too. Okay, step 3 of how you're going to go about setting up this personal night for yourself is you need to define what this personal time, this me time, looks like for you. And this time does not have to look the same for the both of you. What fills your cup might be totally different than what fills your spouse's. For me, during this time, it might be reading or journaling or soaking in the bath. Honestly, in this current season of my life, while I'm trying to work through this school, I'm spending this time to work on school because there's only so much time in a day that I have to work on it. While I have Oakland, I try to do my school and my podcast things and my business things that I'm working towards during her nap times. But with only like an hour to 2 hours a day of naps, sometimes I'm feeling like I'm not getting enough time. So in this current season, which is busy, but it's okay because it's just for a season, I often am using my personal nights for school time. But in another season, I will probably spend more time like reading or, like I said, maybe a face care or something. For my husband, Jeremy, this might be like going out golfing with a buddy or playing video games, watching a show, or working on a hobby that he really enjoys. It's not about judging what your spouse or your spouse judging how you are spending your time. This is a no guilt zone. This is just intentional time for you and your spouse to do something that helps you feel refreshed. And for my husband, that might mean watching a show by himself in the bedroom for a couple of hours. For me, it might mean, I just need some extra time to work on my school this week so that I feel like I'm getting the things done that I need to get done. Okay, the fourth point that I have is you need to communicate and protect this time. You need to be super clear and direct about what this time means to you. Honestly, you need to treat it like it's an appointment. Would you just skip the doctor's appointment you had this week just because you didn't feel like it? No, you wouldn't. You're not going to just push it aside unless it's absolutely necessary. I mean, some weeks for me, I feel like, you know what? I really don't feel like I need a personal night this week. I just want some extra time with my husband because there's some weeks where he's working long hours and I feel like I haven't seen him a lot. So maybe instead of having the personal time alone, I just want some extra time alone with him after Oakland goes to bed. And that's totally okay. If your spouse forgets or starts making other plans, because sometimes they will, you just need to gently remind them, hey, I need my personal night this week. Where can we fit it in? When we first started doing this and we were getting into the habit of it, I would send my husband a text while he was at work and just tell him, remember, I'm having my personal night tonight, because sometimes otherwise he would come home totally forgetting about it and maybe planning to sit down and relax with me that evening, and then maybe it would come to him as a little bit of a shock. So I would just send a gentle reminder to him throughout the day, just once in the day. And I'd be like, just to remember, like, I have my personal night tonight. And he'd be like, oh yeah, I totally forgot. Thanks for the reminder. And sometimes he'll do the same for me. Like maybe if I had a rough week or something and he's like, maybe she might need me this night, he'll just send out a text because he's at work and he will just be like, are you okay if I have my personal night tonight, or do you need me, kind of thing. So just communication here is really key. I think honestly, and this is a whole other topic, but I think lack of proper communication is the number one reason that people in general have arguments. So if you can be very clear with your communication in this area, it's going to really help you guys out. All right, and then the fifth step that I have is that you need to remember that this is about supporting each other. This is not a competition. The goal here is not just to get time for yourself, but it's also to give that back to your spouse, vice versa. When Jeremy gets his personal night, I fully take over the parenting and the household responsibilities without resentment. And then when I get my night to have personal time, I know that he's going to do the exact same thing for me. This creates this mutual support instead of one person feeling like they're carrying the load alone and they're not getting that time to fill their cup back up. I think one of the most important things in marriage is to be constantly serving one another. The more you serve, the better things are going to be. It's not about what can I get for myself? It's about how can I show up and serve my spouse the best way possible. And so when you're both doing that for each other, I think it really fills both of your cups. So Anyways, in conclusion, I know how easy it is to put yourself last when you are a mom, but here's the truth. You just cannot keep pouring from an empty cup. And I'm sure you've heard that saying before, because when you're constantly running on empty, you're not just hurting yourself. Like, you need to think about it this way. You're also affecting your family because they aren't getting the very best version of you. So setting up these personal nights has been one of the absolute best things that Jeremy and I have done for our marriage and for both of our mental health. It's a super, honestly, simple system, but it's made such a huge difference in how we both feel at the end of the week because we're both getting that time to fully recharge. So if you're feeling like you never have time for yourself, I really encourage you to have this conversation with your spouse, maybe even listen to this podcast episode with your husband so that they can better understand kind of where I'm coming from and how you can go about implementing it for each other, and just let them know how this can benefit the both of you, and then set up a plan that really works for you and your family specifically. Like I said, what works for me may not work for you. So just take what I'm teaching you here today, take every bit that you can, but apply it to how it's going to work for you and your spouse. So many moms struggle with finding this personal time, and sometimes all it takes is just one tiny shift and it makes the world of a difference. So anyways, if you haven't already, please take a second to leave a review, especially if you really enjoyed this podcast episode. It helps so much to help this show grow and reach more moms who need encouragement just like this. Thank you so much for being here and listening to me. I have a little baby who woke up early from her nap, so I gotta go tend to her. That's probably why you're hearing her just now. And yeah, I just hope to see you in the next episode. I feel so grateful that you're here every single week tuning in. It means the world to me. Before you go, if this podcast has encouraged or helped you in any way, the best way that you can show your support is by subscribing to the show and leaving a written 5-star review. Your words truly make my day and remind me why I love sharing here. You can also snap a screenshot of this episode and share it with a friend or post it to your Instagram stories. Make sure to tag me at Her Stable Home. Thanks so much for listening, friend. I will see you next time.